What's up, YouTube? T Movies here. Now, one of my favorite type of comedy shows are multicams. I just love me a good multicam sitcom. There's some really good classic ones and all, and there's some good modern ones as well. So, with that being said, here are my top 10 favorite multicam sitcoms. Multicams, of course, where like it's live in front of a studio audience and stuff, and you hear like laugh tracks in the background. Sometimes they laugh at okay stuff. Sometimes they always laugh at some not so funny stuff, which I would always usually gets me with multicams. But anyway, with that being said, here's my 10 favorite multicam sitcoms. All right, coming in at number 10 is going to be the 70s classic Three's Company. With John Ritter, Suzanne Summers. I mean, you had Annie Griffith, dude, Don Knotts in this. I mean, Three's Company was awesome. I mean, it had a pretty good long run. I believe it only lasted for, like, I can't remember how many seasons. I think probably 9 or maybe 8. I can't remember how many seasons there was. But it was still a pretty good show. I mean, you had, I mean, this show probably wouldn't go well with today's standards. Because it's in it, it's a show that stars John Ritter as his character named Jack Shrepper, who who ends up pretending to be gay so he could live with like two roommates. I mean, this is definitely a show that won't last today. I mean, yeah, but it was still pretty funny. I obviously I wasn't around. I mean, this show was before my time, but I remember watching Three's Company like reruns and all. It's a really funny show. It had a really great iconic theme song like most sitcoms do. I mean, Three's Company. Really good song. I mean, I adore Suzanne Summers. She was great in this. Joyce DeWitt was great. Don Knotts. And you also have other people like Larry you had Richard Klein playing Larry Dallas. You had Norman Fell playing Stanley Roper. Audra Lindley played Helen Roper, who is, of course, the parents. I mean, you can't go wrong with Mr. Furley. Some really cool supporting characters, but it's a really nice. It was a nice sitcom, and John Ritter, like he was the man, and he really played Jack really well. So if you guys never seen Three's Company by now, it's a classic right there. All right. Now, coming in at number 9 is going to the Golden Girls. Lots of people probably add this a little higher, probably. But, I mean, you can't go wrong with you still can't go wrong with the Golden Girls. I mean, come on, great characters. I mean, it was a groundbreaking show. I mean, first sitcom to feature, like very older women and all. I mean, you had the always great Betty White. You had B. Arthur. You had, of course, you had Rue McClanahan, who was really great in this. You had Estelle Getty. I mean, so really, I mean, you had some really. Hold on, sorry about that. Anyway, you have some really cool characters. I mean, Dorothy was a pretty funny one. Rose was funny. Dorothy's mom was hilarious. And all of them all had great on-screen chemistry for one another. And it was a classic. I mean, it pretty much broke the ground root. Like, it was one of the highest grossing TV sitcoms of all time. It lasted for a really good amount of, like, it lasted really good long. And, yeah, The Golden Girls is definitely a real classic. If you guys ever seen it, they premiered the show a whole lot on TV Land. It's a really classic one. Alright, coming in at number 8 now. This show has been in the news this week because it was announced that it's getting revived. And number 8 goes to Saved by the Bell. You you can't go wrong with Saved by the Bell. It was a classic TV sitcom that took place in a high school. You had Zach Mark Paul Gousler as Zach Morris, who Zach Morris is trash. Zach Morris was such a douchebag in this, but he did some really not so great stuff. But of course, you had Tiffany Decent, Dustin Diamond, Mario Lopez. You also had Elizabeth Berkley, who of course went on to play a stripper in Showgirls, which is kind of weird seeing her go from Saved by the Bell to Showgirls. I always found that to be weird, but hey, she's not really that great of an actress, so why not? And not to mention, you also had Dennis Paskin as Mr. Belding. You know, lots of these characters were very relatable, lots of interesting storylines in each episode. Of course, we had the senior year not senior, the college years. That's a really good one. Saved by the Bell, broke the ground rules for high school sitcoms and all, and Saved by the Bell was great. If you guys never seen it, give it a go. And I cannot wait to see the revival. We're supposed to be getting Zach Morris as the governor of California. What more could you ask for there? But still, Zach Morris is still trash. Yeah. Anyway. You doing making a YouTube channel or something? Yeah. Anyway, coming in at number 7 is the classic TV sitcom Alf. You can't go wrong with Alf. They are all classics. Uh, Alf is pretty much one of those classic sitcoms from the 80s. And of course, Alf is a alien who, comes from like a weird planet and, crash lands on Earth and, becomes like becomes friendly with this, he of course ends up living with this, couple and their kids and all. And Alf, one of the most funniest characters there is. You, of course, you had Max Wright, who played rest in peace, Wright, by the way, who of course plays the dad Willie. You had his wife Kate, played by Anne Sheeding. You had Andrea Elson, who played their daughter, while Benji Gregory played their son. And Alf, loves cats, if you know what I mean. And Alf is such a really fun one. In the 80s, there was some really interesting alien-based comedy sitcoms. There was Mork and Mindy, and then there was Alf. I'm still hoping we see a revival. I'd love to see Alf, in any shape or form. Alf he's really fun. And I'm not really that big with Mr. Robot and all, but literally, one of my favorite episodes of Mr. Robot that I remember seeing is when Alf made an appearance. Yeah, that was a really funny one right there. But yeah, Alf is a really great one. If you guys still never seen Alf, give it a go. And I'm still hoping we see a reboot one of these days. I'll love to see Alf return. But not sure if people in 2019 could really... I don't know if Alf is really a character that really fits in today's standards, but anyway. Coming in at number 6 is Family Matters. Julia White as the dorky character Steve Urkel. You had the police dude from Die Hard as Carl Winslow, who, fun fact, he plays a policeman in this. So, yeah, he goes from a policeman in Die Hard to a policeman in Family Matters. Kind of weird transition there. But hey, he plays a policeman so well, it makes me literally think that they actually got a policeman off the street and had him play a policeman in 2 different subjects. But Family Matters, it's a classic. Steve Urkel is probably one of the funniest dorky characters there is. And you also had you had people like of course Steve Urkel actually plays the neighbor of the Winslows and us. And of course, you had Carl's wife, Harriet, who was first introduced in the sitcom Perfect Strangers. And this show is actually more of a spin-off of Perfect Strangers. But Family Matters is iconic. I mean, when you think of Jaleel White, you know, like it's kind of funny. He's not even mainly the actual star, but really, he's kind of more popular than the like Carl Winslow and all. Like, if you guys never seen Family Matters by now, it's a really great one. Did I do that? Anyway, all right. Now, speaking of TV shows that would never survive in today's standards, number 5 is On the Family. No way are people in 2019 ready for Archie Bunker. No way. I mean, that character was like people of today's standards will find that character offensive. The stuff Archie had said, lots of the interesting situations. I mean, of course, the show led the Jeffersons. I mean, because Sherman Hemsley appeared as George Jefferson on this, and of course, it got spin off to the Jeffersons. We just sort of had like an interesting reboot of On the Family with that live in front of a studio audience, which I really quite enjoyed. With Woody Harrelson as Archie Bunker, that was really good. But this one, you had Carol Connor as Archie. You had Gene Stapleton as his wife Edith. You had Rob Reiner, Sally Struthers. I mean, some really interesting cast members and really cool father and son dynamic between Archie. Between Archie and his son Meathead. I mean, interesting dynamic right there. And On the Family was created by Norma Lear, who's kind of the big guy when it came to TV sitcoms. And On the Family was great. I mean, they tackled some interesting issues. I mean, like I said, Archie would not be able today. People today would not be able to take Archie Bunker like seriously, because he said some not so like he said some stuff that will offend people today. Like, you guys know how offended people can get today. So yeah, On the Family was really great, and Archie was an interesting character. I mean, if you guys, and of course, it had a really great theme song. Oh, no, 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 no. I really quite like that theme song. But yeah, if you guys never seen On the Family, it's one of the funniest sitcoms there is. All right, coming in at number 4, One Day Tuesday, Happy Days. Number 4 is Happy Days. You had the always great Henry Winkler as the Fonz. I mean, probably one of the coolest characters there is. The show was created by Gary Marshall. I mean, this show, of course, led to the aforementioned Mork and Mindy with Robin Williams. I mean, Happy Days, come on, what more can you ask for over there? And this also led to other spin-offs like Johnny Loves Crotchy, which was probably one of the worst TV spin-offs there was. But you had to keep Scott Baio employed, I guess. You had Ron Howard way before he was a big-time filmmaker. Uh, Not to mention you had Aaron Martin, you had Martin Ross, Anson Williams, Al Malarano. I mean, Happy Days, one of the most, one of the most, classic sitcoms from that era. I mean, the show, of course, takes place in 1950s and 60s, and it's a really interesting dysfunctional family where you have the Cunningham family, who's like a father, of course, you got the father Howard, the mother Marion, and their son Richie and Dora Jonah. And you of course got Richie's local bad boy, the Fonz, played by the always great Henry Winkler. I mean, the Fonz is Henry Winkler's most iconic role. When you think of Henry Winkler, you'll think of, hey, the Fonz, one of the coolest characters there is. And kind of weird, we never got an actual spin-off of just the Fonz. We just got spin-offs of Crotchy. We got spin-offs of Walker Billion. We never got a spin-off of the Fonz. Well, I still never understood that. But, I mean, the Fonz is one of the most popular characters of the show, and we never got a spin-off of him, which I always found to be weird, but whatever. Alright. Now, coming in at number three. Now, most people probably add this as their number one favorite, but I'm not. I love the show. It's iconic. It's a classic, but I never really loved it as most people do. But I can't deny how much of an impact the show became. And my number three pick is, of course, Seinfeld. I mean, obviously, you can't do a best sitcom without even adding Seinfeld on the list. It pretty much. You had, of course, Jerry Seinfeld here. You had Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Jason Alexander as George Costanza, Michael Richards as Kramer. I still wonder if we're ever going to see Michael Richards make a comeback after his last time we saw Michael Richards. He kind of said an offensive term, and not going into details, but if you guys know anything about Michael Richards, you guys will probably just Google Michael Richards. You'll probably even find that. But I mean, the show also, takes place here in New York City, and you could literally go down to some corners to actually find places that Seinfeld was shot. And I'm not even lying. There's literally a Seinfeld diner here. Like, seriously, that I always found that to be cool. Of course, you had it's created by Larry David, who gave us Curb Your Enthusiasm. Seinfeld was just iconic. Funny, some great characters, some interesting episodes. I mean, if you guys still never seen Seinfeld by now, it's one of the most iconic shows of that era. And I really don't know if the show ever would really work in today's standards, but All right, coming in at number two. Speaking of characters that probably wouldn't make it today's standards, the character of Al Bundy would definitely not make it today's standards. Number two is going to Married with Children. I mean, like Archie Bunker, Al Bundy is another character that definitely won't work in 2019. Like, once Modern Family is over and all, I'd love to see a revival of Married with Children with Ed O'Neill returning, Kathy Segal returning, maybe Christina Applegate returning, but she already had that show Dead to Me, so I don't know if she'll be able to. If she'll be able to return, but Al Bundy, like Archie Bunker, he kind of said some. Al Bundy said some not so interesting stuff throughout the whole season, throughout the time the show premiered. And Married with Children, it was still a classic. I mean, Kathy Segal was great. Ed O'Neill, way before Modern Family kicked in, was great. I loved Ed O'Neill in this. I mean, yeah, when you think of Ed O'Neill now, you think of Modern Family, but still, Married with Children is one of his most iconic shows today, and it's a really great one. I mean, of course, you have you do have a dysfunctional family here. Uh, of course, Peggy had some interesting looks here, like some interesting wigs, some interesting costumes. I mean, Married with Children broke the ground breaks for TV sitcoms, and it's a great one. Like, if you guys never seen Married with Children, it's awesome. All right, now my number one favorite multicam sitcom of all time, automatically. Now, what's better? Now, in my opinion, what is better than Seinfeld? What's better than Or in the Family? What's even better than Friends? Because I don't even have Friends on this list. Coming in at number one is Full House. I mean, you can never go wrong with Full House. You got Bob Saget as Danny Tanner. The Olsen twins, of course, played Michelle Tanner. You had John Stamos as Uncle Jesse. Dave Coulier, who, by the way, turned 60 yesterday. I mean, that guy didn't even look 60. But, yeah, Joey Gladstone is now 60 years old. That makes me feel old now. I mean, Full House, maybe one of the funniest sitcoms of that era. Like, it premiered from the 80s all the way to early 90s. And of course, now we got a reboot with Fuller House, which I really love Fuller House. I don't care what anyone says. Fuller House is awesome. Like, sue me what you want. I love Fuller House. And also, you do got Lori Loughlin in this, which is kind of awkward to talk about Lori Loughlin in any form now because, well, I mean, You guys know the news with Laura Loughlin now. But Full House, still a great sitcom. Maybe, I literally grew up watching the show. It's kind of a childhood favorite of mine. I love the characters involved. You know, DJ Tanner is a really interesting character. You also have some other interesting characters that appear, like Steve, the twins, of course, Jesse's kids, who were the twins and all. I really quite got a kick out of the show, and I still rewatch it once in a while when it's on Nick at Night. I mean, it's like I said, it's one of the most iconic TV sitcoms there is. And if you guys still never seen Full House, give Full House a go. It's a great one. But that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Alright. 10, Three's Company. 9, The Golden Girls. 8, Saved by the Bell. 7, Out. 6, Family Matters. 5, All in the Family. 4, Happy Days. 3, Seinfeld. 2, Married with Children. And 1, Full House. Now, there's those other ones I probably could have added. Now, Friends was cool and all, but I was never really the biggest Friends guy. I mean, of course, some other great classics. The I Love Lucy I probably could have added. Cheers is a great one. I probably should have added. I probably could have added the Cosby Show, but I don't know how that will make me look. Will and Grace is a great one. I mean, granted, despite everything going on in the news, I still quite like the Cosby Show. I mean, it's probably weird to watch now, but just remember, he's did what he's being accused of. Not the show didn't do nothing. So yeah. Of course, Everybody Loves Raymond's a great one. Mike and Molly, Mom, Two Broke Girls, One Day at a Time. The reboot and the original, obviously. I could go to a list, like, I could make a whole list. I probably could have actually done top 20 instead of top 10. But I didn't feel like doing 20, so. Anyway, let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite multicam sitcoms there are? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here, See Movie signing off.